Violence on human bodies has been an element of art and storytelling for so long, it is arguable it was there at the inception of cave paintings and oral stories. But for a long time, violence in art was used in service of telling a moralistic story. There was not a trend for existential thought about violent scenarios in visual art until the First World War. After the war, the Dadaists emerged. They responded to the horrors of the war with an anti-nationalist attitude, and their rejection of pleasing aesthetics directly contradicted the Western classical impulse to view the body as a symbol of status, hygiene, and idealized heroism. This inspired surrealist artists to later distort the body as a tool to represent the subconscious mind. Even later, abstract expressionist artists would take another step forward, fascinated with the body as a canvas and a tool. They use their own bodies as art or to create art, in the spirit of action painting or gutai. All of this new thinking about how bodies and consciousness interact with and are represented in art led to a postmodern boom in the 80s and 90s. This included abject art, which explored the difference between the body and the fluids that are cast out of it, often to symbolize marginalized groups that are cast out of social bodies. Performance art that explored violence on the body as means to spotlight the persistence of racism, misogyny, and exoticism. And an era of body horror films, commercially led by David Cronenberg. These films notably face the question of disconnect between the consciousness and the body. They engage with the uncanny tension that our bodies are not our own, or not under our control, and the eventual destruction of those bodies often at the end of these films is what releases that tension. Robotic violence in contemporary art is the next step in this evolution of thinking about the body. It specifically follows the trend of body horror, because we often see a catastrophic, gory mutilation of the mechanical body. Seeing the innards of a robotic body causes us to compare those innards to our own. And, unlike Cronenberg's body horror films, when a robotic android dies, like those in Ex Machina or Blade Runner, there is often no cathartic explosion. At the end of the film they linger, lifeless and mutilated. And therefore, so does the corporeal awareness their pain forces onto us.
Goodbye.
It's commonly referenced that the anthropomorphic nature of robots in art is at the core of our empathetic connection to them. But there is an unsung symbolic connection that I would argue is much more emotionally resonant. In stories, robots often represent the unwanted, the othered, the marginalized. Also, they deal with conflicted emotions, often hate towards their creators, tangled with confusion about who they are, who they're supposed to be, and why they were made this way. I argue that our connection to these characters opens us up for the deepest, most painful psychological punch. We want affirmation that our bodies are more than machines, that separate from our organs, our working parts, there is a pure being, a soul. The ripping apart of a mechanical body hurts so much, because it comes with the general understanding that these beings are finite. They do not exist beyond their wiring, and when they are dead, they are gone. It encourages us to grapple with the fragility of our minds, cope with the possibility that our bodies and minds, for how beautiful and complicated they are not exceptional. Nothing protects us from being like a machine, steadily ripped apart until there is nothing left.